So what's up, guys? So today we're going to be doing a little video on leash pressure. So we're going to teach your dog how to not pull on a leash without using a prong collar or an electric collar. All right, so the first step that we're going to do, obviously, is going to be teaching them leash pressure. And what you're going to do, in order to do this, what you'll have to do is you'll have to have some sort of marker. So whenever they feel something, you have to have some kind of way that they know when they shut it off that it's a good thing, right? So me, I use a clicker, right? She already knows that the clicker means she's going to get a treat just because we've been using it with our other training. So as we're walking, I'm just going to create some space and I'm going to apply a little pressure. I'm not pulling. I'm not going to pull her back. I'm not going to yank her. I'm not going to tell her she's being bad. I'm not going to do anything like that. I'm literally just going to put a little pressure there, and as soon as it shuts off, I'm going to mark it. I'm not going to mark it when she gets back, not when she's on her way back, nothing like that. As soon as she eliminates the space that I'm trying to create, then from that point on, we can then move on into a correction, I guess you could say, while we're actually going on a walk. So basically, she's done this a few times because we have been training. Good girl. But what it's going to look like is she's eventually going to try to eliminate the space before there is any leash pressure, which is ultimately what we want anyway. So it'll look something like this. So we're walking, I create some space. Good girl. That one was a little ugly, but it's gonna look like we're gonna walk, I'm gonna create some space. If she lets me create the space, I'll put a little pressure. As soon as she eliminates the pressure, so I'll show you, there's a little pressure right there. As soon as she eliminates it, I mark. Not mean I don't reward, but I mark the behavior. I mark the eliminating of the pressure, right? So boom, little pressure. I'm creating that. I'm not pulling. I'm not going to yank or nothing like that. I'm teaching her to turn it off. As soon as she turns it off, there's a marker, and then after the marker, there's a reward. If I try to create space like I just did, and she reacts to that in a positive way, not letting me, then obviously there's going to be a reward there. I'm going to mark that and I'm going to reward. That's what we want ultimately. We don't want to have to put any leash pressure, but if we have to, then we will. Good girl. And we'll just keep doing that. Mind you, you're not going to actually practice this on a whole walk. We're not going on a whole walk yet. We're teaching her how we want her to walk in little spurts just in front of the house in a place that she's comfortable. And then we're going to get into a little more active places that might be a little more distracting. What? Okay. So again, we're going to create some space, add a little tension. I'm not pulling. You can see I'm not pulling at all. It's just there. As soon as she shuts that off, there's reward. So basically, after they get good at that, we're going to go ahead and go to the next step, which is while we're walking, we're going to create pressure during the walk. So if she chooses to walk ahead of me, I'll put a little pressure. When she shuts it off, she'll get marked and rewarded. So what we're going to do now is we're going to go to the next step of the video, and basically we're going to add it into a more formal walking sense, I guess you could say. So basically all we're going to do, so this is a good example. She's wanting to smell and see what's going on over there. When she shuts this off, we'll mark it and reward. And we'll adjust the pressure. We'll add more if we have to. Good girl. Good job. So like I was saying, we're going to add the adversives to an actual walk. And again, we're not going on a full walk. We're just going to be walking back and forth. Good girl. But we're going to make it a little more realistic. So what we're going to do is we'll add the pressure during the walk. And when she shuts it off, then there's going to be a marker and a reward. Just like the initial practice, she tries to walk. So now I'm putting pressure. She has to come towards the pressure, right? I'm not going to walk up to her and release the pressure myself. She has to want to release it by herself, right? So we'll do that again. Good girl. She's really distracted right now. That's okay. It's a little more raw like that. Come on, mama. Good. Boom. So she goes, put a little pressure. She shuts it off. If she doesn't want the treat, she doesn't have to take the treat. That's okay. All I want is her response. I want her to be responding to the leash pressure, right? So I'm adding it. I'm not going to go forward towards her at all. She has to come back towards me. And she's not really wanting the treats because she's more worried about what's going on in the world And that's okay, as long as she's not pulling. The purpose of this video is to teach them not to pull while we're walking. So it's pretty simple. It's kind of boring. It gets really boring, but it's 100% worth it. Good girl. And you'll just do this over and over again. So again, if I have to, I'll add some more space. There's already pressure, same amount of pressure. I'm not going to pull, but she has to shut that off. That's a good girl. And again, I'm not giving her any treats because she doesn't really care about the treats that I have. She's more concerned about everything else that's going on in the world. Good girl. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good job. Good. Good. Good girl. So eventually, the final step of this is going to be you'll start to add change of direction. So, good girl. Basically, what that's going to look like is you can walk up and down your street, just across long ways, whatever. And basically, you're going to teach them to mirror you, and you'll just walk, right? I shouldn't pull. She should just automatically come. She should be on the left side. Good girl. Good. And I'll just hit turns, right? The turns are going to force her to have to mirror me. She's going to have to. Otherwise, based on what we've been working on, she has to go towards the pressure. She wants to sniff. I'm not pulling. I'm not going to pull her away. I'm just going to keep the pressure there. So I'm not going to let her get to what she wants to get to. But at the same time, I'm not going to pull her away and tell her she's doing bad, only because she doesn't know any better. We're still teaching her what this pressure means, right? This is a long process. It's not going to happen over a span of a day. It may take a week. It may take a month. It may take 2 months. But as long as you're consistent, this can work without a prong collar or an electric collar. Now, if you put on a prong collar or an e-collar, then obviously you're going to get results faster. But this is for the people who are uncomfortable using those. And you can see right now, as I'm trying to create space and I'm walking, she's choosing to not have any leash pressure. No matter where I go, I'm not making her do like a formal heel or anything like that. We're just walking, just hanging out. I'm creating space, and she's responding to that. Little pressure, we're good. Good girl. That's a good girl. Good job. Good. So this is what it'll look like after a while of doing leash pressure things. They're going to start to mirror you anyway, just because they're going to figure out whenever you create space that there's going to be some sort of pressure. And the whole purpose of this whole video is to teach you how to teach them how to eliminate that pressure that they're feeling. That way you can have a nice and easy correction when you need it, just based on a simple slip lead or even a flat collar. So if we're walking and she starts to walk ahead of me and I do one of those, she kind of gets it a little bit because we've been working on that pressure, right? Let's go, mama. Let's go. Good girl. Good. So I'll show you. I want her to walk ahead of me. Hopefully she does. If she doesn't, that's fine. That's perfect. But right here, little taps, little increments of pressure, those are called corrections. Now, when you pull and you just hold that pressure, that's not a correction. That's just a teaching method. But whenever you give one of those, that's called a pop, a correction, right? Let's go. Good girl. And basically all we're doing is we're just preparing her with the holds. We're preparing her for the quick taps, just showing her that there's a way for her to turn that off, and basically she's out of position, right? So again, guys, it's pretty simple. Teaching dogs to walk nice on a leash without pulling, without using a prong collar or an e-collar. If you have any questions, there's links in my bio for Instagram. You can DM me on Instagram, Facebook. I also have my email on there, I believe, and my website. So if you have any questions, let me know. And yeah, how to teach your dog how to walk without a prong collar or an electric collar.